Hello my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So guys, this is how strange sounds. We have a giant 280-foot asteroid skimming past Earth today in a close flyby traveling at 30,420 miles per hour. And as this article says, we have no techniques to stop an asteroid colliding with Earth. And this is out of Russia today talking about the same thing. Should we be worried? A Big Ben-sized asteroid is going to make a close approach to Earth today. And so this asteroid's named 2013 MD8, and it's measuring almost 280 feet in diameter and traveling at over 30,000 miles an hour. And as this article says, it will just miss the Earth later today, performing one of 3 near-Earth object flybys this week. So the near-Earth object will make what's considered a close approach at 15 times the distance between the Moon and the Earth, roughly 3 million miles away, but it's considered no threat. NEOs are classified as all asteroids and comets that orbit within 30 million miles of Earth, and of this group, those that pass with a radius of 4,600,000 miles of Earth are considered hazardous. 16,000 out of 600,000 known asteroids in their solar system are considered NEOs. And if you are somebody that's watched this channel for a while, you'll see that where there's constantly ones coming in that are within 1 lunar distance of the Earth. So the thing is the size of this one, because this one would be a problem if it did hit, because many of them are just 15, 20 feet, much smaller diameters. So this one is roughly the size of Big Ben in the UK, or roughly 2.5 times the size of the Statue of Liberty. And NASA knows of no asteroid or comet currently on a collision course with Earth. But if they did, would they tell us? That's the question, right? Another 2 close flybys are expected to take place Wednesday, passing within 3.3 and 19.1 lunar distances, traveling at speeds of up to 29,893 and 59,244 miles per hour respectively. So there's 2 more coming tomorrow. So, that's interesting. Why 3 so quick? And when you talk about 3, if you've also heard me talk about our friend Tony, who has basically brought to our attention the sign of the cross in a circle, and that's been seen all around the world. And so he has had a vision of 3 impacts coming. And there's others that have had this vision of 3 impacts coming from significant asteroids. And that's interesting. It is definitely interesting. And what's even more interesting is when we look at what's going on, we have a lot of activity. We have a bright fireball exploding above the island of Mayotte. And Mayotte is off the coast of Africa by Madagascar. This is a very active area that we have seen a lot of earthquakes in. And it's also close to the area where the Kenyan Rift is basically going to separate Africa into 2. And so this meteor exploded over the island of Mayotte in the South Indian Ocean on February 18th, sparking panic among the residents. And the explosion took place at 21:30 local time. Some of the testimonies collected suggest a bright fireball in the Mahoran sky. However, emergency services, police, and firefighters said no particular event occurred in the territory. All aerial and maritime information provided by the specialized services suggests the observed phenomenon took place at sea off the coast of Mahore. At this point, the prefecture is trying to confirm this hypothesis and precisely locate the impact using astronomical observations of the area. So this, this did hit. One of the residents reported a very bright meteor traveling from l'abattoir to the sea. And if you witness the event, please report it to the International Meteor Organization. And there's a forum. And there's video there, and there's some that are circulating that are not of this particular occurrence, even though they're being passed off as of that occurrence. And coincidentally, we have another large fireball that was seen over Belgium and the Netherlands, also seen from the UK, France, and Germany. So that's a pretty good sized area there. And this bright fireball streaked across the night sky at around 2012 UTC on the 15th, and the event lasted several seconds. And you can see the areas that saw it. And we have some videos as well for that one. Another fireball was seen over northeastern Germany at 2200 UTC on the 17th, 2 days later, and was reported by 62 people so far. And there are no images of that. So what's up with all these? You know, you have multiple fireballs coming down. We have 3 more coming in the next 2 days. And then we have these prophecies and warnings from people of impacts coming as well. So we'll keep our eyes on the skies. And then we have hundreds of dead dolphins washing up on French beaches, and the politicians aren't speaking about it, and this is horrible. Since the beginning of this year alone, a record number of up to 600 dolphins have washed up on France's Atlantic coast. So what's going on? That's a lot to be washing up. According to different surveys, the number of carcasses found is between 400 and 600. And so even the 400 is higher than any other previous year. So what's killing these poor things? What is going on? California is also overdue for biblical catastrophic flooding. And so besides the Cascadia up in the north, and then also the big one that would hit the San Andreas, as well as some other faults, those are both overdue events where there's a lot of energy building up. And then they're also talking about overdue flooding. Well, California is getting flooding. We saw it. It already has more rain this year in like 6 weeks than it did all last year. But this is talking about the Great Flood of 1862. And what we have lining up right now could definitely bring us a lot more flooding coming. And so they did a study on the so-called arc storm. In it, the USGS lays out a case for a hypothetical megastorm, one that could cause up to $725 billion in damage and impact a quarter of California's homes. And as we know, California is the largest state in this union. And so if that sounds far-fetched, there's a historical precedent. Geological evidence indicates that California endures massive flooding caused by atmospheric rivers every 1 to 200 years. And the settlers who moved to California after the gold rush soon found out what the native population had known for centuries. Northern California is prime flooding territory. And so the Great Flood is the largest recorded flood in California's history. It was estimated that roughly 1/4 of the taxable real estate in the state was destroyed by the flood, which left California bankrupt. This image of the USGS provides a look at how bad the flooding might have been. As you could see, there's a little video there for you guys to see. And so, I mean, California was long thought to be the paradise where everybody wanted to go, and now we see, California has been hit with some of the most intense of our natural disasters, and it's been hit on a regular basis. Rare LA megastorm could overwhelm, dam, and flood dozens of cities, so-called experts are saying. So this is the other big one. And it could cause 3 times as much damage as the major earthquake when it comes along the San Andreas Fault. And so this is talking about that same thing and the type of damage that's coming. And if you're in California, it's best to be prepared and do what you can. And we know there's been a huge migration of people to other areas as well. 100+ inches of snow so far put Buffalo 27 inches above normal. So, while it's been a pretty good winter for many areas, pretty mild over in the UK, a lot of Europe has been pretty mild for the most part. And, across the southern tier of states here, especially in the northeast, really hasn't been that bad a year at all. Not as bad as last year was. But some areas have been getting a mega winter. And so for the fourth winter in 6 years, Buffalo has topped 100 inches of snowfall. And they had some 3.2 inches that fell late Sunday and early Monday to put the city over the top. And Buffalo's total has reached 101 inches. And we have up to 12 people buried in a Swiss avalanche, and that's reports coming out. And the Valais police have confirmed several people have been buried in an avalanche in a ski station in the Swiss Alps. Local reports are claiming as many as 12 could be trapped in the snow. Police in the canton of Valais said there was an avalanche on the Plaine Morte ski track on the Crans-Montana municipality at about 2:15 p.m. local time on Tuesday, and several people are still buried in the snow. And over in India, we have 800 homes damaged or destroyed as a hailstorm hits. And we're getting into that time of year again where we're going to see these massive hailstorms hitting across the globe. And they were incredible last year, and unfortunately it's probably going to be the same this year. And there's several videos for you guys to check that out as well. And we have an intense extratropical cyclone, Bombogenesis, that's going to be moving across the North Atlantic tomorrow, nearing Iceland and Greenland. And so you see this quick developing, rapid decrease in barometric pressure that is going to bring some pretty intense and severe weather through that area. And we've seen a lot of very violent weather that develops very quickly now, and this is part of the extremes that we're going through. So Mars may not be quite geologically dead. Liquid water present beneath the south polar ice cap of Mars requires underground heat source. So new research suggests that liquid water is present beneath the south polar ice cap of Mars. Now, a new study argues there needs to be an underground source of heat for liquid water to exist beneath the polar ice cap. And so it was thought that Mars is completely magnetically dead and has no magnetosphere anymore. And there's no more volcanism going on. There's no more liquid magma core. So is that not really the case? And again, is our current line of thinking wrong, as it has so often been? So very interesting as well. So the previous study using radar returns from a Martian satellite found evidence for a large body of briny water underneath the south pole of Mars. And then a new paper has gone a step further, postulating there must be something providing heat, or the water would freeze. Based on the available evidence, they suggest a geologically recent intrusion of magma is increasing the geothermal gradient, enough for this briny liquid to exist. So is a volcanic eruption then still possible, if unlikely on the red planet? What's really going on? Is it not completely geologically dead, as we've been told? A new universe map unearths 300,000 more galaxies. And the known universe just got a lot bigger. A new map of the night sky published on Tuesday charts hundreds of thousands of previously unknown galaxies discovered using a telescope that can detect light sources optical instruments cannot see. 300,000 more. The expanse of the universe is incredible, and life abounds. Life abounds. It's not just us. There's no way it's just us here on this, either round planet or flat planet, if you want to take that approach. It's up to each to make their own mind up. But most definitely life abounds. And we have a supermoon going on, and so we're going to have a supermoon today, and this is talking about the supermoon syndrome that rises with February's full moon. And so on Tuesday, February 19th, you'll no doubt hear the mainstream media proclaiming that on that night, Earthlings will witness a supermoon. So it's kind of a branding, and it was a term that nobody really paid much attention to or until 2011, when the full moon arrived at an exceptionally close perigee, coming within 126 miles of its closest possible approach to Earth. So that was the supermoon term, and it went viral. And so, at least once a year we get these supermoons, which is basically a full moon as closest or just about closest approach to Earth. And so the thought is it can increase the likelihood of big movements in the Earth because of the effects of the gravity. So increase the likelihood for big earthquakes and tectonic movements. And we shall see what this supermoon will bring. And so why organic is always better. Milk from grass-fed cows contains as much as 50% more omega-3s. And that's part of it for sure. The other part is less pesticides, less hormones, less antibiotics, less steroids. Because if you're getting something that's not organic, and you're talking about animal products, especially cows, they are pumped up with hormones, they are pumped up with antibiotics and steroids, and you're increasing your chances of cancer dramatically. And also, on the other side of things, as this study finds, you actually get more nutrients in organic every time. And yes, the amount of nutrients that we're getting now is not the same as our ancestors, 100, 200 years ago. Simply because we've stripped out so many of the nutrients from the soil, which, in the great wheel of life, ends up taking it out of the animal's mouth and out of humans that use the animal products' mouths as well. But organic is always better, and as much as possible, always go with local as well. So my friends, as always, I look forward to your comments. Please do subscribe and click the bell, get all the notifications, thumbs up to support the channel, and share with as many as possible as we keep sharing our knowledge and what we're doing with each other. As always, my friends, stay safe out there. God bless, and namaste.